Hello friends, till now in the school or college level we have discussed about the 3R principles of the environment, and nowadays some faculties are talking about the 4R principles, some are talking about the 5R, 6R principles, and the latest there are 7R principles, right? So when we are talking about the 3R principle, that is reduce, recycle and reduce. So these reduce, recycle or reuse are the main 3 R's. So each and every R represents some points. That is why it is called as principle of that number R's. So that may be 3R principle, 4R principle, 5R principle, 6R principle or 7R principles. So depending on that conditions, we can apply these principles. So what exactly the 7R represents? So different industries or different countries representing these different R's. So sometimes the same R may be having some different meaning, but we can go for the general meaning. So that R may be represent research, rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, regulate, right? So if you are going to discuss about the 3R only, then you can go through this reduce, reuse and recycle. So normally when we are talking about these 3R or 7R principles, when we are generating the waste, right? So normal process in the industry is input, process and output, right? So when the industry required or the output required is nothing but the product which is a sellable product and which can gives us the profit. So while producing or while manufacturing these types of products, there are many processes which can generate waste or the byproducts. So whatever the waste generated in that industry, in that factory, so if the sample or that waste is recyclable one, then we can go for this principle. That is nothing but the recycle. So recyclable means what? So simple example is the PET bottles that is used for the packings of the water, mineral bottle or the cold drinks, etc. So this PET bottle after utilization, you can recycle these PET bottles to the industries. So we can use these PET bottles for generating or manufacturing the PET bottles again with different grading or different quality. But if the material of that waste is recyclable one, then this principle, that is one of the R, can be applicable. If some of the bottles, like if you are using the glass bottles for packing these materials like liquids or the cold drink, etc., then we can reuse these bottles. So again, if you take the examples of these cold drink bottles like Thumbs Up, Coca-Cola, etc., in the conventional method, in the old days, we were using only the glass bottles, and these glass bottles are reusable. So after utilization of these cold drinks or the water, etc., after consuming all these materials, we can resend these empty bottles to the supplier, and the supplier can send these bottles to the manufacturer. So manufacturer can use these or reuse these glass bottles for the same purpose after cleaning and observing the quality of that bottles. So this is the second R, that is reuse. Then third R is reduce. If it is possible to reduce the generation of the waste, to reduce the quantity of waste, or to reduce the severity of that hazard of that waste, then you can go for this third R principle, that is called as reduce. So we have to reduce the quantity of material. So nowadays, if you are observing that in the previous days only 1 liter water bottle is manufactured by the industries, and nowadays we are also manufacturing the 500 ml as well as 200 ml bottles, because sometimes it is the fact that we are requiring or we are needed only 200 or 500 ml bottle or water only, but we are purchasing 1 liter bottle as only 1 liter bottle is available at that shop. But we can reduce this quantity, we can reduce the different quantity of these types of materials. So there are different examples where you can understand what exactly the 7R represents. Then refuse. So nowadays the most of the persons or the common persons are also awareing about the eco-friendly products. That is the simple example. Refuse means if the plastic bottles are there, or if the polythene bags are there, and if you are using this polythene, normally it is called as carry bags. So these carry bags are mainly prepared with the help of this polythene or polyethylene, and in some of the states like Maharashtra, polythenes are banned for a particular thickness. So normally when we are talking about the less than 50 micron polythene bags, which is banned in the Maharashtra. So if you are going to use, or if the supplier is going to use these polythene bags, which is having a high life or more life in the environment, and these polythene bags are thrown by the people, and which can be generated a solid waste. And when we are talking about the landfill as a final disposal technique for the solid waste, then which takes approximately 5,000 years to dispose of naturally. So we have to avoid these polythene bags, we have to avoid these carry bags, and that is the simple example of what exactly the refuse is. So we have to go for the eco-friendly products like paper bags or the jute bags or the bags which is prepared by the biodegradable materials. So that is called as refuse. Then rethink. So this is one of the R where you can understand, if you are manufacturing the PET bottles, if you are manufacturing the bottles or some of the products in some different chemicals, by using some different chemicals like cellulose acetate or the polyethylene terephthalate or some other, and if there is a technique where you can substitute this metal by the better metal, by the eco-friendly metal, or in some of the example if you observe that the waste is generated by A process and the less waste is generated by the B process, then you can rethink about the process selection, you can rethink about the material selections, etc. So we can adopt some of the processes, we can adopt some of the materials, or we can adopt some of the latest eco-friendly or less energy consuming techniques which is not adversely affected on the environment. So this thought process is nothing but the rethinking. So whatever the conventional technique is there in that industry, uh, but if you rethink on that conventional process, if you modify these techniques, the process or the materials, then we can reduce the burden on the environment. So that is nothing but the rethinking. So nowadays we are using the LEDs instead of CFL, and in some olden days we were using the CFL instead of incandescence. So the simple thinking is that incandescent lamps are utilizing more power, and this more heat is generated as the input is more to that incandescent lamp. That is, we are using normally 60 watt and 100 watt bulbs, and the output is very less, or the need or the requirement of our light intensity is very less. So the CFL are better option as compared to incandescent lamps. So in the CFL normally we are using 20, 22, 28, 30 watt bulbs only with the same light intensity. So CFL is consuming less energy as compared to incandescent lamps, and nowadays we are using only LED. So even half voltage or 1 volt LEDs are also available. So you can think about these LEDs. So LEDs are more comfortable than the CFL also, because LEDs are consuming less energy as compared to CFL. And nowadays we are using the electronic equipments like TV, flat TV, etc. And in that electronic gadgets also there are advanced technologies where OLEDs are also available. So all these are the examples of rethinking, right? So this is the next R, that is called as research. So what we have discussed, that incandescent lamps is going to convert to CFL. CFL is replaced by LEDs, and some of the electronic gadgets, these LEDs technologies are replaced by OLED technologies. So all these things are done by the some of the industries, and the research are going on. So less power consuming equipment or less carbon contamination fuels or some renewable energy sources should be utilized in the industries. These are nothing but the research examples. So nowadays many industries are using solar based power systems, solar based power generation, solar based pumping systems, solar based lighting or fan systems, etc. So these are the renewable energy sources utilized by the industries, and which is replace the conventional process like fossil fuels. Nowadays we are converting or shifting from coal based plant to the oil based plant to the gas based plants, and now these gas based plants to the renewable energy sources plants. So uses of solar, uses of wind, uses of other renewable energy sources, or the more efficiently technologies, less consuming carbon technologies, or less emission of these carbon derivatives are done by the industries. On all these experimentals procedures are going on, that is nothing but research. So this is one of the R. And then regulate. So whatever the rules and regulation are designed by the state government or the central government, that should be followed by the industries. So nowadays if you observe, in the 2016 onwards there are different rules and regulation which is prepared by the state and central government, like this ozone layer depletion rule, then battery waste management rule, then plastic ban rule, etc. So all these things are related to the environment. So there are various concerns about the environment like global warming issues, greenhouse gases, acid rain, etc. And to reduce all these adverse effects on the environment as well as on the human beings, we have to control all these anthropogenic activities, that is man-made activities in the industry as well as in the society. So for that purpose we have to follow some of the rules and regulations. So this is one of the R, that is regulate. So this is the 7R principle which can be followed in the industry as well as in the society, right? So these are the meanings and some of the examples. Already we have discussed many examples for these types of R, what exactly the refuse means, what exactly the reduce means, what exactly the reuse means, what is recyclable items, what is recover, and what is rot. So rot means if we can't go for any type of this recyclable recovery or all these facilities, then we have to go for the landfilling technique or the incineration. So this is the last option. So if the waste can't be recyclable, reusable, recoverable, etc., and then the last option is landfilling. So nowadays landfilling is also a costly affair because the land rates are costlier than the uh, previous one, and that is why we are adopting the incineration facility. Incineration is nothing but the burning of this waste. So nowadays two-stage incinerators are available, and these incineration facility is governed by the municipal corporation. So local corporation is going to operate these facilities. That may be a landfilling, that may be a incineration. So with the help of this incineration technique, we can burn this waste, and we are also to take care about these emission guidelines which is given by the pollution control board, that may be a SPCB or CPCB. So we have to control these maximum permissible limits given by this SPCB or MPCB. Like if you are going to burn these waste, then you have to take care about the SOx and NOx, that is sulfur derivatives and nitrogen derivatives. Then you also take care about the carbon percentage or the hydrocarbon or some other gases, that is called as flue gases, that is after combustion gases. And we have to recycle the some of the gases if the maximum permissible limits exceeds. So for that purpose, in some of the setups, scrubber system should be incorporated in that plant also. So that scrubber is the equipment where you can absorb the gases which is to be avoided directly emitted to the atmosphere. So scrubbing mechanism is nothing but the absorber mechanism. Normally water is used as a solvent, or sometimes we have to use zero point 0.1 normal NaOH as a base. So if the acidic fumes are generated due to this waste incineration, then we have to use the neutral or alkaline solvent, that is nothing but the zero point 0.1 normal NaOH. And with the help of this scrubber mechanism, we can avoid these acid fumes or some other fumes or the gases uh, by sending it to the atmosphere or before sending it to the atmosphere. So we have to follow the norms of this pollution control board before executing all these types of treatment facilities. So this is one of the example, that is of Goa, where it is clearly mentioning the numbers of these waste generated. So this is the segregation, that is separation of the type of waste at source itself. So we can easily separate out these types of waste. So that may be a solid, that may be a recyclable, that may be a reusable, etc. And 55% of this segregated waste is collected, and then 18% is not collected, as the waste which is separated from this from the at the source itself, it is not recoverable or not reusable, not recyclable, etc. And 27% is depend on the characteristics of that waste. So 50% is surely it is collected, and then it is easily separated, that is the number is 72%, and 28% is not collected by the transport facilities. So depending on the characteristics again, so some waste is uh, spilled on the road, on the source, or on the facilities where the collection can be done by the different sources. So only 72% is mainly collected, and in this different criteria, so only 55% is collected. So this 28% is in the atmosphere, that is maybe on the road, that is maybe in the pipelines, that may be in the sewage lines, or that may be lying on the open ground, etc. Then 63% of this collected waste is transported by the vehicles. Then 27% is transported by the different small vehicles, and 10% is not transported. So out of that again, there are two types of waste from this transportation, which is non-recyclable and one is recyclable. So from the transported waste, the non-recyclable waste, which is of RDF, that is 45%, that incineratable, that is 18%, and which is going to send for the landfilling side, that is of 63%, right? And the recyclable waste, which is wet waste, can be recyclable, that is 63%, and dry waste, which is can be recyclable, that is 81%. So depending on the characteristics of the waste and depending on the transportation facility, depending on the collection centers, depending on the separation or segregation at source, all these things are depends. So the efficiency or the success of this uh, waste to wealth facility is depending on these types of different elements. So we have to take care about these waste for the segregation, for the collection, transportation, and even the segregation at the end level also. So in short, you can observe how this waste is going to change into the fuel, gas, or electricity. So this waste can be collected by the different facilities and that can be transported to the plant, and in the plant, if it is converted or heated or processed in the plant itself, then that can be converted into fuel or in the gas or in the electricity. So this is the general idea where we can convert this waste into the wealth or the energy. But all these things are depend which type of waste, what quantity of waste, whether the collection system is appropriate, whether the transport system is accurate, and whether all the facilities to convert